All right, everybody, welcome back to the Clara CFO Group channel. Today, we have a very special guest I'm excited to have on the show again today. Well, I guess it's not a show, on the channel, Hector Garcia. Hey, Hector.
How are you?
Good. I'm great. Some of you guys know who Hector is. He is a CPA. He is a fellow YouTuber. He has a thriving accounting practice and has for a number of years. And now he is also dabbling in the conference business. So I'm excited to talk to him about that. But I am really excited to have him on today. Hector, before we kind of go into like the questions, and the reason that I brought you on here today is because there's been a lot of stuff happening in the accounting industry. And I've been wanting to find, somebody to have a really good conversation about that with. And I think this will be really helpful for both our accountant audience that we have here on the channel, but also for our accountants. We have a lot of accountants that watch this channel as well. So really excited to have you on today. But for people who do not know you, can you give a little brief intro of yourself?
Sure. I'm Hector Garcia. I'm a CPA. I have a YouTube channel like yours. And
Yours is a lot bigger.
Yours will get there for sure. I've been doing YouTube videos for over 10 years. We do a lot of QuickBooks content. And now I've done a lot of ChatGPT, Claude, other AI tools type of content, which has gotten the attention of a lot of people because experimenting with artificial intelligence is not something that a lot of accountants do, especially in a public venue like what I've done in my YouTube channel and other webinars that I've been producing. So that's me in a nutshell. I am a CPA. I'm based out of Florida, and my focus has always been QuickBooks, QuickBooks tutorials, training with QuickBooks, consulting with QuickBooks, and that's kind of how I built the brand around being a QuickBooks consultant.
Yeah. And I ended up watching some of your videos before I even started my business. So I thank you for those because it really helped me start on that platform. And everybody who's been watching this channel who's gotten some QuickBooks tutorials, it's probably because you kind of taught some of that to me at the beginning. So for people who haven't checked out the channel, be sure to go and look at his channel and make sure you're subscribed over there because there's lots of great content. But it does seem that recently, these videos that you've been doing more recently are dabbling in what does AI look like with accounting today? And I was just also at a conference where this was like a very recurring theme. What is AI doing? This technology is moving so fast. It seems like there's a lot of leverages of things that can happen between the transaction level things that we do as accountants and how AI can maybe enable and make that better and faster and all the things. Give us like where are your thoughts on AI and accounting? I know that's a very big question, but let's start there and then let's kind of go from there.
Okay, so I urge you to look at the date that this video has been published because with AI, these things move really, really fast. But I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel right now, which is AI and accounting, it's just a novelty right now. It's something that you can play with, something that's used a lot more as a marketing crutch and marketing materials than it is for practical reasons. However, we are in the cusp where the tide will turn, and all of a sudden, I don't know who's going to flip the switch. Will it be Intuit? Will it be a third party coming in? Will it be ChatGPT talking to your QuickBooks file or whatever general ledger software you use? Or would it be ChatGPT talking to your bank and your bank talking to your spreadsheets and you bypass the traditional accounting software? I don't know exactly how that will happen, but there will be a tide turn where all of a sudden AI is used in accounting all the time, 100% of the time is within the context of everything that you do. And the reason why I have to state it like that is because in the software development industry, whether it's large companies or small companies, AI, it's already part of everything that they do, okay? I'm a partner in a software development company, and I can tell you right off the bat, all the programmers use AI to test the code, to get ideas on code, to get the code more efficient. And this happens every single day. So right now with accounting, it's not like that where every single bookkeeper and accountant has AI in a third monitor and is just doing things, kind of checking on their work. But some are experimenting with it. But I can tell you the things that are working now. I can tell you right now the things that are working, which will give you a glimpse into what is to come. So first of all, let's talk about what you can do now in terms of accounting applications just with ChatGPT, which is the simplest, easiest way to get into AI. You can take a credit card statement or a bank statement that you downloaded straight from your bank. It's a spreadsheet, a CSV file. You can throw it into ChatGPT with no context and say, help me organize these by category. And ChatGPT will go in there and put them in different categories. Are the categories the same as your chart of accounts? Maybe, probably not. Are the categories accurate? Maybe, probably not. But then we can start giving it some context. We can say, hey, this is my chart of accounts, or for the small business owners out there, these are the 7 expense categories that I want the expenses to go into. I want them to go either into payroll or meals or travel or office supplies or equipment or whatever, right? So I give it the 7 categories, and then I say, okay, now try again and organize these and categorize this. And then it will do its best and we'll get some wrong. And you can add some additional context that says, hey, if any of these seem like personal, add a new category called personal. Examples: doctor's office, gym, etc., restaurants under $20. And then it will then redo it again. But the lesson to learn about this is that you will, over time, as you learn how to talk to this thing, you'll be able to customize your AI experience to then work for you. Now, in contrast, let's take a look at QuickBooks Online. You go into QuickBooks Online, you connect your banks. QuickBooks will suggest how to categorize certain things. That is technically, maybe, possibly AI, but really, it really isn't. It's pattern recognition. Right. So what QuickBooks does is they'll take the 5 million companies, right, that are connected to the banks, and they'll take a look at how the majority of people categorize Chipotle or McDonald's or American Airlines or Delta. And then based on how most people categorize something, which could still be wrong, because most business owners don't know how to do this. Most accountants do. So it's kind of a tricky situation. But QuickBooks grabs the aggregate of what everybody does and then goes in and suggests something for you. Now, for some people, that's AI. That really isn't AI. That's more like nested if statements, but it's just pattern recognition. But what Intuit is developing at the same time is they're starting to develop context where they're going to take a look at the industry that your company's in, okay? The size of the company, maybe the number of employees or the number of how much revenue it has. And then it will start, instead of grabbing the average of what everybody does, it will grab a discriminated, segmented average, plus the context of it being able to conversate with the ChatGPT and say, hey, what do you think this category should be? And here's some of the averages, but based on your logic, what do you think? And then it will do some sort of mathematical equation to see which is more probable to be, and all that stuff happens in nanoseconds, and then it will suggest a category for you. So what we're going to see very, very soon, and I don't know if QuickBooks will be the first to do this, but we're going to see small business owners log into QuickBooks, log into their banks, and within maybe seconds get an instant profit and loss and balance sheet. Now, it will not be accurate. It will not be accurate. But if it's 95% accurate, and accountants want it 100% accurate, but if it's 95% accurate, and a business owner does a tax return, and they get audited, and there's no change in the audit, it doesn't matter if it was accurate or not. Right. For all practical reasons, it worked, and it served this purpose. Yeah. So the challenge that we have right now, and this is where accountants and bookkeepers need to start shaping the future, is that small business owners really don't care about accuracy. What they care about is, can I make better decisions of this, whether it's accurate or not? Okay, and there could be multiple examples where a totally inaccurate P&L will drive the business owner to do the right thing and make the right decision. Okay, and sometimes it's really luck, not so much always logic. But or if I'm doing this for compliance because I want my tax returns done, and in the most part, the IRS only maybe gives 1% of the people a 1% additional tax on this. Business owners are going to start saying, what's all this accuracy thing that accountants are talking about that they can do better than AI? Does it really matter? And basically, all of a sudden, it just becomes irrelevant. And then we become irrelevant. Right. Because we are we're putting too much of our money. We're all in on the fact that you need an accountant so things can be categorized accurately. And again, AI won't do it now, today. It won't do it. But it will literally happen overnight. It will be the day where you will be blown away on how it can do it. Just like ChatGPT came out of nowhere And overnight, you can talk to a computer the way you could do, the way they envisioned it in books and in movies for like 50 years. Overnight, it happened. Overnight, that will happen.
Yeah.
So what I recommend people to do right now, small business owner, accountants alike, try to think of all the minutia, all the annoying things that you do in accounting now. Categorizing expenses, or finding odd transactions. Is something odd out of here? And try to start getting that data that you're already doing in accounting, paste it into ChatGPT and tell it, help me do this better, help me do this better, help me do this better. And you will see progressively and that you will be prepared when that switch happens, and you will know exactly how it works. Mm-hmm. Now, will you use ChatGPT to do this? Maybe it'll just happen in QuickBooks, and maybe it will happen in QuickBooks in such a way that you won't even know AI is doing it. Like it's one of those really interesting things. And one of the podcasts I listen to quite religiously, they pointed out that when AI gets boring, that's when you know it pushed through. That's when because boring means mainstream, right? So right now, AI is exciting. You put something in it and you're surprised by it. But when you're no longer surprised by what it does, it's mainstream. So this is the part that we need to really be ready for, is this switch where we go from AI as a novelty to AI as mainstream, like it's happening with software development right now.
That's really something I've thought about a good bit. Well, even just using QuickBooks as a user and those baby steps of like a suggestion that happens in the coding and in the transactions. When that suggestion happens, I always have been thinking, well, like we are just moments away, months, years, whatever it is, moments in the grand scheme of things away from our accounting systems to be able to do all the categorization for us. So kind of like what you were saying. And I agree. Like, I think that most small business owners are not really willing to pay for that 5% between a 95% accuracy and 100% accuracy, because it doesn't really matter if they're paying the same amount of taxes at the end of the day. Why would they be doing that? Maybe something got classified in like air travel where it should have been in meals, or, that probably would affect your taxes, but maybe there's like a slight little thing that gets put into a different category and nobody cares about it. I think that is making accountants sweat pretty heavily. And that was one of the big conversations at the conference that I was at. So, people who maybe are employed as bookkeepers right now, or they have their own bookkeeping firm, what is the hope in all of this new technology? And what can they be thinking about? And what could they be getting excited about, and not just creating fear around technology taking their jobs away?
There's a loaded question, it has multiple layers. So I'm going to answer it with a quick story that's not so fun. But 200 years ago, 95% of us humans worked in farming. Now, 5% of us do. Nobody's complaining. Okay. 20 years ago, we literally took a bank statement and we hard coded line by line into our accounting software. Yeah. And now it happens through bank feeds. I don't think any accountant is complaining. AI is something that we worry about because of the movies, because of the books, okay? Because robots will take over the world, okay? I get it, I get it. But the reality is AI is just software. Like it's just software that's smarter, okay? It's going to be exponentially smarter, but it's just software. So don't fear that your software is going to get better and you're going to be able to do your job better. What you need to do is you got to reframe what the perspective is of what an accountant does. You cannot count on people saying, yes, I will pay you money because you're going to do the annoying thing of moving transactions from the bank into my GL and choosing a category. We need to reframe that. We need to change that. Now, there will be a point in time that we're still doing that 100%. And then it's going to move to maybe we do a 50%. Then it'll be moved to maybe we do a 5%. And then it will move to we just go out there and verify what the computer is doing. And then we'll move to there'll be another AI that verifies that. And we just look at the high level P&L and balance sheet and we tell the client, good to go make your decisions. So the reality is that, and one of the problems is the word bookkeeping. The word bookkeeping is sort of has action built in. Like bookkeeping is the act of keeping books. So in many ways, when you imagine what bookkeeping is, you imagine somebody shuffling paper around. You imagine somebody moving information from one paper into another paper and putting it into a spreadsheet or putting it into a ledger. Or the problem is bookkeeping, it feels like that's the profession of the manual work that the computers will take over. So of course, if you call yourself a bookkeeper, and there's nothing wrong with that. I called myself a bookkeeper before I was a CPA for many years, and I'm still very proud to call myself a bookkeeper. But the problem is, if we don't rebrand bookkeeping and we continue to call ourselves bookkeepers, there will be a point in time that it'll be just like farming. Like it'll make no sense. It makes more sense to go to Walmart or supermarket and buy the fruits and the vegetables there and do something else that you're better at than you actually going out there in the field and farming. It's just not effective for us to do that. So it will be ineffective, economically speaking, for us to try to hang and clinch to the old way that we used to do bookkeeping. So at some point in time, right now, 95% of our work is hand keying entries and making journal entries and cleaning up P&Ls and balance sheets and presenting and explaining what a balance sheet and a P&L is to our clients. And maybe 5% is thinking, being creative, that sort of thing. We have to now flip the script, allow the computers to take care of all that stuff, and then spend 95% of the value that clients pay us in the thinking, in the problem solving, in the innovation, in forward looking. So one of the major things that I tell both accountants and bookkeepers is our schooling teaches us that accountants only look at the past. Okay. Our job is to be historians, is to look at what happened and organize what happened into this thing called the profit and loss, the balance sheet, and the statement of cash flows. So organize the history and tell the truth about the history. Accountants are not supposed to make projections into the future. They're not allowed to speculate about what will happen. They're not allowed to interpret the accounting piece with how this is going to change or the behavior of customers or employees or whether this company or not in the future has a chance to continue to survive. The only thing that we're allowed to tell is up to today. It's only the present. And I think that's going to be the pivotal point where we make the switch in our heads and we feel comfortable with also talking about the present and the future. And that requires us to be innovative, forward-looking, and creative, because no one can predict the future. We can only take a combination between the history, our judgment, our gut feeling, and our imagination to inspire our clients to think about their future different. So instead of spending every month telling our clients that they're spending too much money in meals and entertainment or whatever, right, which is pretty much what we do every month, it'll be amazing for us to talk to our clients about what do the next 6 months look like? What behavior changes are happening inside your organization that are going to change the net income of the company moving forward? What strategic decisions are we making today? And how can I help you as your partner in future growth, your bookkeeper, your accountant, your advisor? How can I help you? Take these ideas, help you maybe ideate some of the ideas, think about it, reshape the strategy, and help your business move forward, help you achieve your wildest dreams, help you retire, help you send your kids to college. Let's now be futurists together. Okay. But we still know how to work the past. We understand financial statements. We have a great baseline. We know exactly what our clients need to understand about it. But then we need to now recontextualize the past as a precursor to changing behaviors today, to shaping the future for our clients. So it's a matter of reframing. And that's why I use that word a lot, because that's the title of my conference that you alluded to. It's called Reframe, because that's what I'm all about. Like, my life goal is to make sure, I will die making sure that this will happen. I probably won't achieve it 100%, but every single day I'm going to chip away at it. My job is to make sure that the accounting profession gets sought after as the most creative, forward-looking, and innovative of all professions, which is currently the opposite on how it's seen. And Hannah, I need you, and I need all the accountants watching and listening to this. And I also need the business owners and the people working with accountants to not just suggest, to require that your accountants start being more creative, start being forward-looking, start being innovative, and help you shape the future. ChatGPT is going to process and summarize the past so fast for us that it will be so irrelevant for us to cling to that as the one thing that we do and the only way we can get paid.
Yeah, ChatGPT is going to be able to like do analysis for us too and be able to give us all of that like past historical trends and insights, I think, as well.
You can do it now, Hannah.
Yeah.
I'm going to invite every single one of you. Grab a P&L and balance sheet of your company. If you're worried about security, open an Adobe PDF, change the name, right? Make up the company name, paste those bad boys into ChatGPT and say, give me a 6-month plan to improve my profitability. And you're going to be blown away how much better the advice that ChatGPT has given you that your accountants have given you in the last 20 years.
Because, and I think this is what I've heard from, because I mean, we have a fractional CFO company. So like we are doing that forward looking, we're having those conversations. That's what we do. That's kind of like part of like what's been, considered advisory services and CFO services. Like we're willing to go into those conversations. But a lot of times people come to us because they say, hey, I went to my bookkeeper, asked them these questions, and they were just like, no, that's not my job. That's not what I do. I record the past basically, but I can't help you make decisions for the future. So what do you think are some of the things that are kind of blocking accountants from even seeing themselves as that, like, used to doing the historical, but like we need to make that shift into moving into forward-looking thinking? I think there's a lot of mental blocks there.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's not their fault. It's our training. We were trained to only look at the past. So make peace with the fact that it's not you, it's your teachers, okay? And now you need to be your own teacher, and you got to make that switch in your head. So it's going to be absolutely a mindset shift.
Yeah.
You do need to learn the art of communications. I mean, that's probably going to be the single biggest thing right now within the context of ChatGPT. If somebody responds to an email, you'll know if that's a ChatGPT response. You just know. There's something about the human way of communicate and the way that ChatGPT communicates where you know the difference. So let's leverage that. That is the one thing that ChatGPT is probably never going to emulate, is the emotional aspect of human-to-human conversation. So let's do something that's very easy, which is try to be as human as possible. Like, so let's start with that, okay? And the way we're human, it's a couple ways. One is we need to be really open with our vulnerabilities, in the sense that as accountants, we feel that our job is to always have the answers. And as I've matured as an advisor, I realized that having good questions, it's a lot more powerful than having the right answer. Because you know what? ChatGPT will have the answer. That's the thing. ChatGPT is great at answering things. That's what ChatGPT was invented for. I'm sure most people end every single ChatGPT query with a question mark, okay? And it's great at giving you answers. But can ChatGPT ask you the type of question that makes you think? Hannah, think about it. When you've gone to anybody for advice, whether it's professional or personal, and you say, can you give me advice? And they just start giving you advice, and it never ends with a question mark. You go, okay, that's good advice, and you kind of process it, but it doesn't really make you think. It's just their version of maybe what you should do. But have you ever had a situation where someone listened to you so hard and so well that instead of giving you an answer, they're like, in their mind, they're like, I don't think Hannah's thinking about this particular issue. So instead of me going into teaching mode and try to teach her that issue that I didn't hear her talk about, so instead of me going to preaching mode, let me ask her a question to see how much she knows about this particular idea that I have. And that person has asked you a question that made you go back and go, wow, that is a good question. I haven't thought about it like that. Most of the time, for people to react like that, it needs to be a question and not a statement.
Yeah.
And that's a really important piece, which is we need to be comfortable with walking into an engagement, into a new client, just being naive and saying, help me understand how your strategy, how the strategy that you laid out matches the actions that you're taking today. You can ask a simple question like that. Help me understand how the strategies you laid out matches the actions that you're taking today. You ask a question like that, and people go, holy crap. I mean, it just goes, wow, I didn't even think about that. Or they'll come back and go, you're right. This is one of the interesting things. Sometimes if your questions are so good, instead of getting an answer, you'll get a 20-second pause and you're right. And you made no statement.
Yeah.
you made absolutely no statement, but you asked the question so well that made the person jump ahead, answer the question on their own, realize that they were doing the things wrong, now know what they're supposed to do. In their mind, they play the whole picture as if you told them, and they go, you're right. And then what happens?
You're like, I didn't
the
say
idea
anything.
And the idea came from them. Have you seen the movie Inception with
Yes.
Leo DiCaprio, where they talk about, like industrial sabotage through the dreams, but you can't give somebody the idea. The idea has to come from them, because you can't incept the idea into people. People has to come from them. It's the same thing. That's what great advisors do. That's what the future bookkeeper or accountant is going to do. We all know what our clients should do. They should spend less money on stupid things. They should invest back in their business. They shouldn't take that much cash out for their own personal expenditures. They should pay their top employees more money. They should stash money out for their own retirement. They should increase the price of their products. They should negotiate the gross margins of the products that they sell. They should go out there and go through all the expenses and get rid of the subscriptions that they don't need. We have the answers, and we give it to our clients every single month. And guess how much of it they do about it? Zero. They do it zero. Like, it's just so annoying for us that we do that. So what ends up happening is we've failed so much at giving advice and getting them to act that we just go back to the stuff that we know how to do, which is to do really damn good bookkeeping and accurate bookkeeping and give them a great P&L and balance sheet. And this is the only sort of safeguard that we have to feel good about our work and to feel that our work is valuable. But that's the problem, is that little by little, that's going to be table stakes. It's not going to be something that your clients see as valuable anymore. It is learning how to ask better questions. Okay, there's a really good book that I recommend called A More Beautiful Question. It's just a great book. I'll give you the link so you can put it on the show notes. There's another book that I love called Exactly What to Say that talks about questions quite a bit, and you have it. You're looking through it. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. So those two are good. So these are things that you want to start thinking in questions, because that's how you're going to become a really good advisor. And the other piece is just a technical side. Like, I truly believe that if you start getting comfortable with ChatGPT and AI tools, ask ChatGPT what you're not good at. You say, hey, I have this client, and you throw the P&L on the balance sheet and have a meeting next month, and I want to have this deep, meaningful conversation about their past. Maybe you could put a 3-year, 5-year trend analysis of a P&L and a balance sheet, and maybe a budget of what they want to do, for the future. Say, I want to have a deep, meaningful conversation about how the business is doing and what kind of actions they should be taking in the future. And here's the context. The person is 43 years old. They have a 16-year-old that they want to take to college. Boom, 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 boom. And you go through and then you let ChatGPT, and this is not a live environment, but let ChatGPT give you ideas, and you take whatever ideas are useful, and then you grab the ideas you like, and you go to another AI tool. You go to Claude or Meta or whatever, and you say, hey, this other AI, give me this idea. Give me a counterpoint, to a better idea. And then you start using all these AI tools to just sort of battle ideas against each other. And then you grab what you like, you grab what makes sense to you, you contextualize stuff that works for you. You can say, I only work with manufacturers that speak Spanish, that are in Mexico and Texas. Can you recontextualize it for me and the type of people and the idiosyncrasies of the business owners and the employees of this industry? Can you give me new words and new context, or recontextualize it in a way that I'll understand it or my client will understand it? And the tool is there. The tool is there. You can go out there and read a million books, and I still recommend that's actually a good idea as well. But what I'm saying is, sometimes you can go straight to the ideation, and you can really get your creative juices flowing by using ChatGPT as a sparring partner, as a brainstorming partner to help you become a better advisor.
Yeah, I like that idea. Just a note on privacy. Do not put your clients' public or your financials up onto public ChatGPT. So make sure you're watching that.
And a quick note on that. You can go into QuickBooks, change the company name to ABC Corp, print the P&L and balance sheet, change it back to the real name, and there you go.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah, simple. So I noticed when I was looking through the agenda for the conference, for the Reframe conference, which is happening in October, mid-October. What are the dates there? 16th?
It's yeah. So October 16th, we're gonna have a pre-conference, and we're gonna speak about drum roll, ChatGPT for for 3 hours. We're gonna spend the pre-conference
Nice.
is ChatGPT AI and technology updates. This is just
Right.
to get all the tech stuff out of the way. Like all the people that follow me and that come to the conference, they're tech heads. They want to know what's new and with QuickBooks. So we'll get all that stuff out of the way, and we use it as a backdrop to contextualize that tech is good. You gotta be up to date with tech, and we need to understand what's out there, and we need to get our clients implemented with the latest and greatest stuff. But then the conference starts on October. The actual theme of the conference is called Influential Conversations
Yes.
for Accountants. And the reason why it's called like that is because, number one, I want to improve my conversation skills. I want to improve my communication skills. So I built this conference for me. But I want it to be influential because many people in the past have called me, oh, Hector, you're an influencer or whatever. They put me in the influencer category because I'm in YouTube. But then I think about like just the 15 years I've been doing work with my clients. And it's like, yeah, I've been a little bit of an influencer with my clients, but for the most part, I think I have the same issue that all the accountants have. Like clients don't do what we tell them to do. So this is what the conference is all about, is how do we get clients to
Yeah.
do what we tell them to do?
Yeah.
And that requires for us to be more influential, more assertive, asking better questions. And I want to learn from the speakers. We have these incredible speakers and from everybody in the conference. And we're going to spend 2.5 days dissecting communications, conversations, being influential, and then all that stuff will be recontextualized in the backdrop of how do we use that as a weapon against what AI wants to do to our industry, and also how do we do that as a baseline to charge what we're worth, right? To get
Exactly.
the value for what we do.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things too, is that this is actually what our clients want. They want to have the guidance, and they want to have conversations that they don't just feel like they're eye rolling the whole time, because they're like, I can read a P&L. I don't need you to just tell me what's on the P&L. I want something that's a value add to the situation. And so I think that this is actually one of the best things in some ways to push accountants into. Actually, clients want people who really understand their business and will help them create a better business for the future. And we are so empowered to do that, understanding the numbers. And like, it's just a lot of it is about how do you just start pulling that out of the client, and like, how do you become more of that trusted advisor role rather than just the accountant and the paper pusher. And I mean, that's what they want. Like that's what clients really want to be paying for. They don't really want to just be paying for, processing of numbers.
And as I alluded earlier, they want you to ask the big questions. They
Yeah.
want you to ask the questions that make them roll back in their chair and go, I never thought of it like that. They
Yeah.
don't want to be told what to do. They're successful business owners. They're paying you, right? From their perspective, you need them, right? You're providing services for a small business. A small business needs to make a profit to be able to pay their accountants. So in their perspective, you need them. So you telling them what to do, that's not advisor. That's not being advisor. When the client tells me, what should I do? Then you can give a suggestion on, what would I do? Like, of course you can do that. But getting to the point where your client asks you, what should I do? They need to first trust the fact that you have creative thinking inside of you. Okay. And this is one of the big issues that we have as a brand, that we are not branded as creative. We are branded as conservative, only look at the past, don't think outside the box, stay within the rules, follow compliance. That's the brand of the accountant. And there's tons of value there. But within the context of AI is very good at following directions, it's very good at following rules. That's what AI does great. And AI is not so good at being creative. And maybe it will mimic creativity, but true creativity just comes from human brain. So that's what people want. They want to know that you struggle with the same things that they struggle, and then that you have to think outside the box, just like they have to think outside the box. And they want to know how you think about problems for your business, because you're a business owner too. So that's the part that we need to spend 95% on, not 5% on. And we're going to embrace ChatGPT, shifting those percentages so ChatGPT can do the minutia and we can do the thinking.
Yeah, I love it. Hector, I feel like we could keep going on this subject for sure, but you've got like a whole 4 days to go and talk about this subject at your conference. So if anybody wants to find out more about the conference, they can go and look at the description box below. We'll be sure to put a link in the notes there. Hector, anything we missed? Is there any other last closing comments before we wrap this up?
One of the closing comments I'll say to you, Hannah. First of all, congratulations. You got an incredible channel. I follow your content. Your QuickBooks videos are fantastic. Some of them I envy. I'm like, I wish I would have made that video. So keep going. And I want to encourage every accountant out there to create a channel, create a podcast, share your knowledge. This stuff comes back tenfold, 100-fold. It allows us to charge more. It allows us to get closer to our clients. These podcast conversations, if you listen to the whole thing and you're a business owner, I'm pretty sure you're like, man, I so wish my accountant would have a conversation like this with me. Or I so wish I could hear my accountant thinking about these things with other accountants. So this is what you want from as an accountant. This is what you want from your clients. You want your clients hearing you think through ideas, think through problems with other accountants, with maybe with their other clients, because conversations are so powerful. Conversations open a part of the brain that's you can't with just facts and circumstances, right? Just open conversations, just let the creativity juices flow. So I commend you very much for your channel and what you're doing. And I want to encourage every single person listening and watching, get started with AI. Just open a free ChatGPT account, look at Claude, look at Meta AI inside Facebook, look at Google Gemini. These things are exploding. Just brainstorm with it. That could be a first starting point, and your creativity uses will flow. And then if every single accountant in the world starts being more creative, accountant, right? Not getting creative with tax code, none of that stuff. When we start being creative and using that part of our brain, we will together reshape the profession. We will reframe it as the most creative, forward-looking, and innovative of all professions. And we can do this together.
I'm here for it. I love it. I'm with you on that journey for sure. Awesome, Hector. Thank you so much for being on the channel today.
Bye, Hannah. Thank you.